and to motivate people, even though you have not really a background in blockchain technology or crypto. It is now the time for everyone to be part of it. And like I always think, like by telling my story, I want to encourage others also, like to send these tweets or these DMs to these people and just see what happens, because that's one of the beauties of Web3.
Hey everyone, and welcome yet to another episode of NewForum. NewForum is powered by Newcoin Foundation and is focused on fostering the expansion of decentralized social applications, also known as Social 3.0, by forming an ecosystem and a community of visionaries, creators, and investors to spark conversations on the topics of crypto, the metaverse, NFTs, and everything Web3.
We're super excited to have Flavia Bon with us on this episode of NewForum. She comes from the traditional fashion industry, but has now ventured into the world of Web3, developing abstract ideas into concrete products through design, material, construction, and storytelling in fashion. We're going to chat with Flavia about her move from physical to digital fashion, the crypto community, and what lies ahead for fashion brands venturing into the Web3 space. Hey Flavia, happy you could join us today.
Hello, Salimi and Joyce. Thank you so much for having me here and for the invitation. It's a great honor also for myself to be part of this group. I love what you do, and you gather like fantastic people, many I know, and it's great that you give them a voice, and we can get to know all the people that are actively building in Web3.
We've been fortunate to have all these amazing guests on our show, and we're glad that you could join us, be part of the conversation. So we're gonna start right on, and I'm curious to know what's your background and what made you venture into crypto and Web3 space, and what do you think and what do you like about it the most?
All right, as you already said in the introduction, I'm coming more from the traditional side of fashion. I started my career as a very traditional tailor. I did women's wear. Then I studied fashion design and worked with different brands on menswear mainly, but then also evolved into developing all kinds of designs. So it's always like hard to pin down what exactly I do. It's like I do mainly developing in different fields in design, fashion, and also art by now. This I'm doing since the past 15 years. I do it since 5 years independently and do freelance work as well. I ventured into all kinds of development, even material development. I had the chance to develop leathers, which I never thought that I would do in my life. So, but I always liked working with leather. So, and then even developed leather products, art, and yeah, I'm a hands-on person. I like creating stuff. So with my hands, and also try to kind of like innovate, like every time I try to find a way to do things in a new way or discover better ways to do products.
So is this, because you mentioned that you're a hands-on person. So is this why you decided to like combine physical and digital? So you decided to go into more of the phygital side of things because you sort of cannot like live without doing things the way you've done, but then you're also evolving with the changing times and all the amazing tools that Web3 offers. So any thoughts on that?
I mean, I use digital tools since the beginning, actually. When I started studying fashion, for me, it was already back then like a big tool to do my designs. So using laser cutters, plotters, 3D printers, and therefore, for me, the digital tool was always a normal part of my work. So the whole Web3, that came actually through a different angle. Like in 2018, late 2018, my brother introduced me to Ethereum. He showed me his wallet. And I remember like, Bitcoin. Yeah, I was always like curious, what is Bitcoin actually, already back in 2014. But when I tried to have a conversation with someone about it, like everyone was like, this is weird stuff, like better not now. So I started the conversation with my brother about Ethereum, and then it developed into a massive obsession and like a secret obsession for myself, because also back then, 4 years ago, there were not many people you could have a conversation with about cryptocurrencies or blockchain. So yeah, I spent like every 3 minutes reading about blockchain, how it works, the technical side. And then obviously I immediately was wondering, like, how can I add that to my work? And there I really encountered the issue, right? It's like, how do you combine fashion with like such a highly technical topic like blockchain? I spent hours to think about that. And at some point I just thought, okay, let's relax. It's such a groundbreaking technology which will have an influence in all parts of our life. It will cross with fashion one day, fashion, art, or design. And then in 2020, like NFTs came slowly into the media. I went on Nifty Gateway also back then, and I couldn't really relate to the art, to be honest. It wasn't really like my taste. I mean, you could buy the art back then like for $50 or even less, but I just didn't like it. And then a year ago, beginning of 2021, when really the surge came of NFTs, including Topshop, I thought like, oh wow, okay, Topshop was a massive movement, which included all of a sudden a part of the mainstream. And I thought, okay, that something is going on. And then February 2021, there was Crypto Fashion Week for the first time. And by coincidence, I just lost some work, or it got postponed, and I had that week off. And I signed up for everything, and my mind was blown on the first hour when I was listening to these people. I thought like, wow, it's happening now. Now really crypto comes together with fashion, and so many doors opened. And I have to also say that week I slept just a few hours because I was just overwhelmed with the input and like the possibilities that opened up back then, and also listening to people who are actively already working and building this space.
That's so amazing. Like, I like that you really, like you said, you come from a traditional background, but you really look forward to the future and how we can use blockchain for all different kinds of things. And I think fashion has a long way to go. Like, I think digital fashion is not the only way we can, use blockchain. But I'm wondering, what is Studio Bon, and what does it stand for? Like, what is your idea behind it?
Studio Bon is actually the studio or the name that I worked the past 5 years as a freelancer. It's where I do all my design development work. And now also it slowly moves more and more into digital. Last summer, I also gave myself some time off to really fully dive into Web3. And I said goodbye for a while to all the physical development that I do. And I took some time to learn Clo 3D. I did a crash course. It was actually a boot camp, rather a boot camp. At Amphi, it was a summer course. I learned all the tools there. And then I started to, follow all the people constantly on Twitter. I kind of like abandoned a bit Studio Bon because I really felt like it's the time to open up and to actually start by zero and forget everything that I did so far. And one day a tweet appeared from the Fabricant that they seek a community manager. And I don't know what I was thinking, probably nothing. I just replied. And I got super excited after I sent that tweet back. And I thought, what did I just do? And the reply came later very quickly. And it started a whole new area in my work. So
First of all, I really love how how you express yourself. I think it's very soothing, and we can obviously feel that enthusiasm. It's really natural, and it's quite contagious, and I love the energy that comes from you. And it's funny how you spoke about the Fabricant and how you send that message and tweet, and then they go back to you. And I'm curious to know, like, how did it go? So you started working as a community member, or how did the relationship end up, becoming? If you have if you want to share, you can share.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Because it was a big game changer in my life. So
Right.
obviously I like to talk about it. And first of all, I also want to say, for me, it's always very important actually to show and to motivate people, even though you have not really a background in blockchain technology or crypto. It is now the time for everyone to be part of it. And like, I always think, like, by telling my story, I want to encourage others also, like, to send these tweets or these DMs to these people and just see what happens, because that's one of the beauties of Web3. Most likely your expectations are always going in a different way. So, or you end up in a complete different way, and you really have to be open. So yeah, the Fabricant, I had a talk with Adriana, one of the co-founders of the Fabricant, and 1 week later, I started working as a community manager with a small team. And to be honest, I mean, it was just amazing, like, how they didn't care what my experience in that field is. Like, they like that I come from fashion and at the same time know a lot about crypto. And they said, like, do whatever you want here. We all have no idea. Let's just figure it out together. And this is just one of the beauty of the Fabricant. It's like, really, it's a discovery of a new field, and also like the people within, and be open what other people bring in. So the Fabricant is is a great platform for people finding their purpose in digital fashion or crypto or Web3. There is always an open ear. You can always talk, and also you can learn a lot from each other. It's also, the nice thing is with the Fabricant, everyone is on the same level in a way. People come from crypto, they have no idea from fashion, and then the other way around, right? You have the fashion people who have no idea how to set up a MetaMask and spend some crypto. So it's like everyone is like on the same level of not really knowing everything. And this is just, it clashes and it creates a great vibe. I think this is also the secret of this community there.
Yeah, I think they're doing an amazing job, and I think they just raised a lot, so we can see that they're obviously growing and they're making themselves a big name in the digital fashion space.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, what do you think about the traditional brands venturing now into the Web3? I think we saw a couple of brands doing that really, could say, successfully, or trying things like dropping NFTs or collaborating with gaming platforms. Like, what do you think about traditional fashion brands venturing into the Web3 space?
Yeah, I'm still a bit biased, to be honest. I'm like, I really like the time, like a year ago in spring 2021, when like it was really just people who are not related at all to big brands, right? It was all independent designers trying to find a new way to actually make a living using these tools. And there was not this noise of big brands trying to conquer the space, right? And this started now last autumn, I believe, in a massive way, that more and more brands come in, try their way to be successful. What I also think is nice is, like, not everyone is successful, right? It's like you see also brands that are like, that struggle, that it's like, it's not smooth. Their launch of the NFTs is not perfect. They have difficulties to build communities. Their Discord is exploding, but nothing is happening within the Discord. Yeah, I find it interesting. It's like, even though you have probably so many resources and so many people behind, it's not the guarantee that you actually succeed. And then you see like these independent designers, for example, I always think like Steffi Fung is a great example. She just conquers the space all alone and she does an amazing job. So that's just new. And this is really what we in fashion always were missing, right? You probably know that too, because you have that background too, that it's really hard to find your own way, your own voice in this space next to this noise from all these big brands.
I was thinking, so what do you think is the most essential, like the most essential thing to, should I say factor, to consider when you're trying to enter like into the space as a like a traditional brand, and also like what's the most essential thing that brands need to take into consideration when trying to venture into Web3?
I think an open mind, I think, is the most important thing. Be open to listen to everyone that is already in the space. Technical people, creative people, communication, people from the communication. You have to have an open ear and eyes and listen to them. I think it also has a lot to do with the sharing of experience. And this is why I also like Steffi Fung, because she did always these workshops on Twitch and really shares her whole path into this world. And also is very open, like saying that not everything is always perfect, right? We're all learning. I think this is essential. And also obviously really the community part, right? If a brand just comes in and is like, all right, we have this product and we're going to sell this and we want to sell more products. Yeah, okay, it might work if you have a good product. I mean, there is never one rule. But I think with Web3, it's really part of including the community into your product and into the experience. A product is not just like something that has functionality, it is an experience, right? And Web3 really brings the component of the community in it. They can be a part of it. They're part of the story. They start telling the story if you're doing it really well. I think that's the new thing. And also, I guess like many brands struggle with such a new component.
Yeah, I think you have such an interesting, view on this, because I see this, I see brands trying to venture into Web3, and then you have the audience or the people who follow the brand and who are in these discords, but it's a different type of communication. They're younger, they are like fearless, they just say what they want to say, and also they obviously want to support the brands and sometimes work with them. But I see like the problem when they're dropping their free designs in these discords, where is the protection of the independent designer, for example, like if they just drop their designs or whatever, and the brand just takes it. So the intention, I think, of the brand has to be very clear of like why they are venturing into and what community building, like you said, like what they want to give to their community.
I also, one thing maybe also compared from brands and like independent designers that are in the NFT space now very successful, is if you come from the bottom, right, it's also sometimes easier to convince your fan base to support you. A brand, they have massive resources. I don't know, I just see that myself. I always like, do I really want to invest in this? Do I really want to give them my money to, or they have anyway already enough? Or would I rather give it to an independent designer so they can even do more with their own resources?
Yeah, and I wanted to add on that. I think that's a brilliant point, because most of the time people would rather support like local designers, and I also think that like just venturing into Web3 is not as simple as it is, because like you said, community is everything about Web3 has to do with community, right? It's so community driven. So, and with some of these, like obviously like the Web2 principles, it's mostly been about like the product, like why the product is good for, maybe this target audience. And so people are mostly focused on the product, and there's not really a sense of community. And so if you just want to venture into Web3 and then assume that even if you have 1 million followers, will just kind of like follow you and kind of suddenly create this kind of community vibe or a DAO vibe. It's not so simple, but like you said, a more of an independent or like a newer brand or something might be able to sort of start from scratch. So I mean, it's a lot of thinking to do, but obviously it's still very possible for these, let's say, traditional successful brands to venture into it. But I think it can't be just automatic. There has to be, they have to have the right intention and try to solve some problem, you know, not just about like money or just following trends. And so like speaking about trends, I mean, I feel at the moment DAOs have sort of taken over from the metaverse. I don't know, because when I would say when I started my Web3 journey, everything was about the metaverse, and currently I'm hearing DAOs. You know, was it metaverse with NFTs, and now it's like a lot of DAOs happening. So do you have any thoughts about the metaverse? What's your definition? Do you think it's here? Do you think we need to wait longer? Any thoughts on that?
The metaverse is still something that fascinates me. And this is also really one of the reasons why I like and I am in this space. I think this is where you find the inspiration. And I'm a true believer, actually, that the metaverse exists already, probably already since a few years. Because for me, a metaverse is not just like Decentraland, Sandbox or Roblox or Fortnite. For me, the metaverse is like everything. There is one metaverse, from my opinion, which includes all virtual spaces, which includes different ecosystems, like Decentraland is just a separate ecosystem within the metaverse. Same also, the Fabricant is also creating an ecosystem within the metaverse. And virtual worlds, I mean, since COVID, we are constantly in Zoom, in Google Meets. For me, this is also the metaverse. And now also just thinking about, I mean, the metaverse came up with the rise of NFTs, of digital goods that we can own. And then the metaverse gives the reason also to buy NFTs. Like I am wearing right now digital jewelry, which are NFTs. This is like where it clashes, right? The real world, but also the digital world clashes, and it exists already. You can really do it. So that's why I think the metaverse, we're fully in it. Maybe sometime it's not so perfect. The quality is not that good. It's not so smooth. Still, the tech here needs to evolve quite quickly to follow our ideas and our search to do more in the metaverse.
I'm wondering, like, what are some of your would you say like your favorite tools, you know, in Web3, or structures that you really I guess, you know, you really like about the space? And then maybe if you have any last few words you can leave with our community, and then we can let you go.
Yeah, good. Maybe just to add one more point with the metaverse, and also like one of my favorite tools is actually VR. For me, I got myself an Oculus last year, and I think after the first session I did in it, I thought like, okay, this changes just everything. Like it just added like this massive chunk of imagination in my head. I was a bit overwhelmed, I have to say. And it was just so accessible all of a sudden. I did VR maybe in 2015 for the first time, but back then it was like, it was so expensive. It was difficult. The tech was not there yet. But now you can just buy an Oculus, and the whole VR virtual world is in front of you, and you can conquer it. And there also, I'm a big fan of Gravity Sketch. Gravity Sketch, if you don't know it, is a 3D modeling tool, which you do in VR, and it's very intuitive. You enter the space and you start modeling your pieces. This tool has now the possibility also to create collaboration rooms. So you enter a room with someone else somewhere in the world. Up to 5 people can join in that room, and you start to create together. This was one of the best experiences I had like the past years. I have a friend who introduced me into this, And I never met him in real life. I got to know him in Discord, and then we started to meet in VR and started to create stuff. So, and just recently I met him at the Non-Fungible conference in Lisbon for the first time in real life. And it was just, what a great feeling. Like, I had the feeling really I had already a connection to that person, right? And I think this is also one thing that is about the metaverse. It's about connection, connecting to people. And we do it here over a video call, or you do it even in a more intense way in VR, where you really almost can touch each other in a way.
And I wanted to, since you have on a Jebel's earring, I would perhaps share this quote from Susanna, the founder, and it's around the metaverse, and then maybe we could wrap up. And she said, I think many people are focusing on the metaverse and virtual space only, but I think AR has a bright future as well, and I am looking forward to virtually dressing and going out of the house and being dressed normally in the physical space. I do not think we will stop entirely producing physical stuff, but we will not need as much because there will be enhanced by technology such as like AR or mixed reality. And this was from her, and I thought that was really beautiful. And yeah, I think this has been a great conversation with you. And Flavia, thank you so much for your time with us. Thank you for your enthusiasm, for your positivity, and your coming on here with the right energy. And I think our community will be really inspired. And I'm wondering where they can find you on your social platform.
Well, thank you also for the conversation. Really enjoyed talking with you guys. And I also am open for many more conversations to come with everyone that would like to join. You can find me when it comes to Web3. I'm obviously on Twitter, or when it comes more into my development design work, it's Instagram. And then I'm all over Discord. Discord is where I live almost day and night. And you find me under my name, Flavia or Utopia. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Honestly, I think you really like had such great points, and yeah, I'm really like going away with like so much new thoughts of this conversation. And thank you everyone who tuned in today. And also, if you guys want to get more involved within our community, make sure to follow us also on our social media. We are on Twitter and Instagram, NewCoin and also NewForum, and we have a private Telegram group. And as well, follow Flavia, and we can't wait to have the next episode of NewForum. So thank you all for tuning in, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and we see you in the next episode of NewForum.